One. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Sunday, February 11th, 2024, aka Super Bowl Sunday, but you don't care about that. That's why you're tuning in to us right now, right? Meow, meow,
It's
meow,
Monday when they hearing this.
meow. This is the Now Mind You podcast. We are in episode 101 combat, and we are your hosts. I'm TJ.
I'm Matt.
Bryce.
As far as the docket is concerned for today, we will be covering a few different, well, really two different combat events. Matt's going to take us through one of the fights that happened on the Teofimo versus Ortiz card that I believe
Mm-hmm.
occurred on Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
And then we will get into UFC Vegas 86, aka UFC Fight Night, Hermansson versus Pyfer. Matt, take it away.
So to start off, we had Teofimo Lopez versus Jermaine Ortiz. Now, there's a little bit of storyline here coming into this fight. Teofimo Lopez being former opponent of Jermaine Ortiz's when the amateurs having fought each other in the Golden Gloves, where Teofimo came out victorious. Also, another layer to their story is Jermaine Ortiz was one of Lomachenko's primary sparring partners when he was preparing for Teofimo Lopez.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, a fight that he lost, but that was, essentially what it was. So Jermaine Ortiz has made a pretty decent career for himself, and in that career, he has landed himself a title shot against Teofimo Lopez for the WBO and for the ring welterweight titles. Teofimo Lopez is kind of up and down in terms of where he stands with boxing. There are moments where he's retired. There's moments where he's back in the game and all this other stuff. And a lot of it is promotion. So I'm not going to fault him for any of those things.
Hmm.
But this fight drew a lot of controversy within the boxing community over the weekend. One, from what I was told, it wasn't a very exciting fight. I didn't watch the fight live. I watched it on Friday. It just completely slipped my mind that it was going to be on a Thursday. And I didn't watch it with sound, which was kind of how I prefer to watch fights, especially if I missed them live. I like if I didn't see it live, then I don't
You
want
probably
any
just don't want
narrative.
the commentary. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to watch it, and I felt like for a majority of the first half of the fight, Jermaine Ortiz was in control, and Teofimo could not seem to cut the ring off on Jermaine Ortiz. Now, the reason that's relevant is Jermaine Ortiz stayed southpaw the entire fight. Most people believe him to be an orthodox fighter, but if you watch the Lomachenko fight, he switched a lot throughout the course of that bout. And I think that's a part of his style, but he, in this instance, decided to just stay southpaw for the entirety of the fight. And it gave Teofimo problems. Teofimo had a problem with the movement of Jermaine Ortiz, um, had trouble catching him, had trouble cutting the ring off. And where I think the fault was on Jermaine's side was on the back end of the fight. I felt like he stopped throwing punches. And I mean, not only do I feel like that, CompuBox felt that way as well. You can look at the numbers. His punch percentage and his numbers and stuff went down as the fight went on.
Mm.
Ultimately, the fight was scored in favor of Teofimo Lopez. I could see how he won a very close decision. I think more than anything else, what people are upset about is the scorecard being 117 to 111. I'm gonna shatter any illusions for you that this was a very exciting fight. It wasn't super exciting. It was kind of slow, even from a technical standpoint. There just wasn't a lot happening. The output and volume was very low from both guys. Um, and another thing that I noted was that Teofimo knows how to close a show. And not, I don't mean that in the sense of he landed some huge punch on Jermaine Ortiz or anything like that on the outset in those back end rounds. But what I mean more or less is that he knows how to appeal to the judges and win rounds. And I'm not saying that he's not fighting. I'm saying he knows how to win a round at the end. He knows how to steal the round from you. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? He knows how to get that round back right in the last 30, the last 10 seconds. He knows how to, at the very least, make you start to question if you thought he lost that round. He knows how to do that very well. And he did a very excellent job of that. Um, especially in rounds 10 and 10 through 12. He really knows how to, to finish out really strong. But overall, it wasn't a performance to really hang your hat on, really, from either guy, except for in the beginning parts, like I said, with all the movement from Jermaine Ortiz, and very visibly was frustrating Teofimo Lopez. Afterwards, Teofimo goes on some really random tirade, and he goes back and forth with Keyshawn Davis, who, interestingly enough, was also his co-main event. There was some incident with them at the press conference initially, nothing that was like crazy, but they sat next to each other, and there was some a little bit of a back and forth, but they shook hands and supposedly things were fine. But at the conclusion of Keyshawn Davis's fight, he called out Teofimo, and he was ringside, and there was some yelling back and forth from the ring to the outside between the two of them, after Teofimo won and had his belts all out and stuff like that. As far as the Keyshawn Davis fight is concerned, Keyshawn Davis was the co-main event, fought against Jose Pedraza. Um, this was Jose Pedraza's first time fighting at 135 pounds in 4 years. I'm not saying that in any way to diminish the capacity of the performance that Keyshawn put on, because let me tell you something. Keyshawn went out there and performed. He was in complete control for literally the entirety of the fight.
Hmm.
Like there was no second thought or anything like that. He was in complete control for the entirety of this fight. Um, this was also Jose Pedraza's first fight in a year. His last time fighting was against Arnold Barboza Jr. Literally a year ago, February the 3rd, in Arizona. Prior to that, he came off a draw with Richard Comey and a loss to Jose Ramirez back in 2022. Um, the reason any of this is relevant is Jose Pedraza is a former world champion. He's a former world champion who took his first actual loss to Gervonta Davis um back in 2017. That was after he had won 22 straight and had already won both the IBO and the IBF super featherweight titles. He was already a two-time world champion at that point. Um, and at this point, really in his career, he's really a three-time world champion because he was able to attain another belt before he eventually lost to Vasily Lomachenko. Again, the reason we even go through his resume is this: he fought Keyshawn Davis, and that was Keyshawn Davis's 10th professional fight. Keyshawn Davis in his 10th professional fight demolished a three-time world champion.
That's insane.
And Jose
But it's since
Pedraza is
Keyshawn.
34. Keyshawn is 24. 10 years his junior, but still, I mean, it was just an impressive performance all the way through. One-way traffic for 6 rounds until the fight was eventually stopped. That's really all I got to say to follow that up. Maybe we get Keyshawn after. Maybe we get Keyshawn and Teofimo. I personally think that's a bit more. That's a lot to ask for. Uh, just because that's a championship fight. That's a 12-round fight. He's never been 12 rounds before. He's been 10, but he's never been 12. And Teofimo has been 12 several times. And I think that type of experience definitely matters. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Fortune favors the bold. So good on him. If he can get himself a title shot and catapult himself at 24, 25 years old, good on him. So, but that pretty much concludes the boxing section. And I will pass it to you guys for the UFC.
All right. So, the card UFC Fight Night. Oh, okay. I'm glad TJ. Hermansson
Ugh.
versus I'm a
Pyfer.
Pyfer. Okay, it ain't a trick. All right.
It ain't a trick.
Sometimes, man. Ultimately, just giving like my thoughts on the card, just head up. It was pretty nice. It was pretty competitive, actually. Um, Very, very interesting go of things. Um, I think what I'll do for the first fight, I'll just go over the numbers, and TJ, you give your thoughts on it. The first fight was a middleweight bout between, I'm assuming this dude is Portuguese or Brazilian, Rodolfo Vieira versus Armin
Petrosian.
Petrosian. God damn it, Petrosian. And of course, Vieira got the win via submission in the first round, 4 minutes 48 seconds. So it was close to the bell. Um, it's a close fight as it seems. The total strikes for Vieira was 14 out of 21. Total strikes for Armin was 14 out of 25. Significant strikes, Vieira had 6, while Armin had 9, and Vieira had 3 out of 3 takedowns with 1 submission attempt. TJ, what'd you think of this one?
First and foremost, we covered Armin Petrosian's debut on this podcast, and I believe he fought against Gregory Rodriguez, who's also on this card in one of the later fights. Excuse me. But this is what I'll say. Classic grappler versus striker. Armin Petrosian has a crazy kickboxing pedigree. Rodolfo Vieira has a crazy jiu-jitsu pedigree. I feel like he had been on, I want to say Vieira had been on somewhat of a skid. I don't think he won. Oh, he did win his last fight? No, the fight I last saw was him against Chris Curtis, right? Against Chris Curtis. That was the one he had lost. But yeah, like, look, if it had stayed on the feet, I don't know that Rodolfo would have done what he was able to do. But he got into some exchange with the Petrosian, and he's like, you know what? Hold on. Tackle and grapple. Hit him with the single leg, brought him to the cage. He picked this dude up 2-3 times and hit with a Godzilla big head double leg. There was one that he did where he landed on his head. And I didn't like the way his neck was going, but I guess he was okay. Just kind of kept ragdolling Petrosian for a little bit. And I say ragdoll, but don't think of that in the extreme sense. It was more like the controlled sense where it's like, I know you're trying to get up on this fence, but I'm not going to allow you to do that. Here, let me hit you with an Uchimata. Here, let me trip you up. Let me put your butt back on the fucking ground. Ultimately ending with Vieira catching Petrosian in the mount and hitting him with an arm and triangle choke. That was pretty technically sound and tight because it did not take long. There was like 20 seconds left in round 1 and Petrosian tapped. It was like there was no surviving that submission, but it was a pretty good win for Vieira, all in all.
Yeah. So going into the next one was Michael Johnson versus Darius Flowers. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, some simple names that I'm used to. Okay, so it was a it was a lightweight fight. Michael Johnson won via unanimous. Well, it was a unanimous decision.
Mm-hmm.
Total, I like my numbers. I'll give you the numbers. Michael Johnson had 80 out of 138 total strikes. Darius Flowers had 52 out of 86. Michael Johnson had 61 out of 112. Darius had 33 out of 64. And of course, Michael Johnson had 4 out of 8 takedowns, while Darius had 0 out of 2. 4 out of 8 takedowns is 50%. Yeah, Michael Johnson pretty much, for me seeing it, he just had a very dominant display.
Man, he's an MMA fighter through and through.
Yeah. Just kept the pace up, just kept Darius guessing, It was either he was like trying to defend himself against the striking, or he had to like prepare himself for a takedown. And I'm pretty sure Michael had him down for one good round for a good amount of time of it.
Yeah.
I think this Michael's been on an up and up. He won his last fight too, didn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was a good showing for Michael. Michael Johnson always puts on a good show. It's funny that we think about his career. He's like, it's always the bigger names that he finds himself like getting.
He lost his last fight against Fajeda. But before that, he had one against Jacasey.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, still a good showing for Michael Johnson. TJ, I'll pass it on to you. What you think?
Bro, like, he hit that nigga in his chest. multiple times. I don't think I've ever seen an MMA fight where someone got hit in their chest that much, bro.
I
Like,
mean,
like I don't like, bro. He hit that nigga in his chest,
to be honest with you,
like,
if it's open and you go get points for it, fuck it.
yeah. But it's like it was just I've never seen a strategy that incorporated chest hits like this because it was repeated
Open
chest
chest.
hits. Basically, bro. Basically every round, like. And part of the strategy was like, if you're head hunting and the person has a tendency to dip, you hit to the chest so that you'll catch a mid dip and eventually you'll just connect with the face. But like this was just like, hey, is this nigga's chest okay?
Fuck your chest, nigga. That weird ass triangle tattoo, nigga. That's a target.
You know what that is? It's a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu logo.
Oh no.
On his,
I wish I
but it
did.
also looks like the fucking gladiator from what's that alien race in X-Men? Um, uh,
Uh,
Beyonders?
no, not the Beyonders.
the Kree.
Not the Kree. Actually, yeah, wait, it might be the Kree. Remember that lady who had the triangle hair style, like wildin'?
That'd be fucking with the X-Men. I don't remember
That'd be,
that.
but like that dude in the fucking black and red mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, is his
Beyonders?
name? Is his name
Gladiator.
Gladiator?
Gladiator. You're talking
Is,
about Gladiator.
yeah, I just forget what alien he's or what alien race he's associated with. That might be the Kree though. Or is it the Shi'ar?
I think it's the Shi'ar. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. I'm pretty sure it's the Shi'ar.
But anyway, I'm
It
sorry.
is the Shi'ar.
I
It's the
digress.
Shi'ar.
I digress. Only all that to say, tattoos was wild. But good showing from Michael Johnson. Dude, let's get into Tavares versus Rodriguez. This might be my my fight of the night. And I don't usually say this for fights where it gets like violent because I feel like they're cutting into their lifespan. I'm not even saying that as a joke because sometimes like you almost wish somebody would get KO'd than them take like a consistent beating. But like talk about somebody leaning into their fucking controller, bro. Like we had Gregory Robocop Rodriguez on the one end, and then we had Brad Tavares on the other hand. Now we've seen and we've covered like these dudes fighting before. In fact, last time we saw Gregory Rodriguez fight, we said that he wasn't allowed to make any type of facial expression until the fucking crack between his brow healed because that shit was
Oh yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah.
I thought that was him.
Yeah, that shit was gnarly. I do not use that term lightly. You had to see the fight.
You had to be there.
You just had to see the fight because like we're talking about this nigga could not act surprised. If he acted surprised, that could have been a rap on his face. Like any
You
eyebrow
had to be
movement.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't want to be there.
But if you were
had to
there, you understand. Like, but yeah, it was like two brawlers. And it's crazy too, because if you look at Rodriguez's background, the dude's a decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu athlete, but like he's been making a name for himself with his hands.
Yeah, all these jujitsu motherfuckers starting to do that because it's like, well, I'm not scared if I go to the ground because I'll just choke your ass.
Right. So
I think that's kind of I think that's like a good
take you down with my fist. Sorry.
It's a good strategy though. Like, yo, if I get you groggy enough, I can just put you in a submission, you're gonna tap and I can go home. That's how Charles became champ.
That's true.
And guess what? They unless you're good on the ground, they're not gonna go down there with you.
That's true. So, that is very true.
Yeah.
And then Brad Tavares, shit, based on the tattoos on his body, he's got some of that indigenous energy. Let's just keep it real. And we know that they live by that. If I can drink them, I can sing them. Tai Tuivasa type lifestyle, bro.
Hilarious.
But anyway, like, if I were to score this, round one, Rodriguez, only because he had Tavares on his back foot most of the time, like to the point where it felt like Tavares was using the cage to help like fuel his escapes. Because it'd be like, I'm not saying it's to the extent of the meme of that one girl who like turned her back and straight up ran from Norma Dumont. I'm not saying it's that extent, but there were a few cases where it's like to like Rodriguez is literally like throwing hooks at this dude and he's like kind of skating on by the fence. Like he could have been on spaghetti legs, but you wouldn't have known it because the fence was kind of holding him up as he was escaping. Like that's what I'm saying, right? And then round two, Tavares kind of upped it on Rodriguez to the point where it's like, all right, we're seeing Rodriguez slow down and he's kind of shelling up a little bit more. But then round three, it's like it's almost like the perfect situation where your coach told you what to do in your corner and you do that shit as soon as the round starts. Mm. When I said Rodriguez leaned forward with his controller, I mean that because he put the gas through the fucking car floor, bro. Like,
damn.
No, like you, Matt. I'm telling you, dog. Watch that. It's my fight of the card for a reason. Like he leans forward. He like starts hitting Tavares with the combinations, bro. He spammed like 3 to 5 hooks on Tavares, kind of dropped him and was like, "Hey, I know you still want some more." Hit him with a few more hooks to the point where the ref was like, "You know what? I've seen too many dead bodies. I'm going through therapy. I need you to stop." like it was
type of energy.
It was a TKO finish, like in the most RoboCop way possible. Like Rodriguez is, I think they were even saying in the commentary that he actually has the most knockout wins in 2023 for middleweight, and he's a jiu-jitsu specialist.
That's crazy.
It is insane. Bryce, what'd you think, man?
Man, I think you said it best, TJ. I think the thing that stands out to me the most was the way the ref like stopped the fight. He's just like, "Look, I get it. You did it. Stop it." Like,
stop.
Because even Brad was like, "Bro, why you stop it?" And he's just like, "You know damn well why I stopped it. You know damn well why. Just go home to your family. Ain't no man should be hitting you that much, that hard, that efficiently, at that rate. It's time to go home. It's possible."
Ref said, "I'm gonna need you to log off, bro.
I'm gonna need you.
Windows music."
Because
it was, and like it's the way he was getting hit too. Because that first hit, you heard it.
It was not.
You heard it.
It was not safe.
It was just
freaky fast finish.
Not safe.
It wasn't a freaky fast.
No, they didn't do it on that one. They didn't do it on that one.
I'm just thinking of all of those things.
There was some. There was some Jimmy John's disrespect.
We gonna talk about that. We gonna talk about it. It was just later on in the show.
Oh yeah. I know.
And that one was. It was high key personal. But let's get into, if you don't mind, Bryce. I'm gonna take the hit on this one because it's a lot of consonants in these names. But we got Robert Bryczek versus Ihor Potieria. All right, we got through it. I'm gonna say Robbie and Ihor. So we have Poland versus the Ukraine. This I believe. Hold on, let me just double click on his name. I think this was Bryczek's UFC debut. If I'm correct. Yeah. If we look at his UFC page, that literally it's the fight between him and Potieria that's showing up. So we have the newcomer, up and comer versus the veteran in Potieria. And the thing to know about Robert Bryczek, he's coming off of Poland. You know, Poland's got their MMA scene going tough with they got Blachowicz, they got Jędrzejczyk, who was a champion in her own right, held that belt for a long ass time for what it's worth, right? You got people like Gamrot, Mateusz Gamrot too, who's like kind of blowing up that MMA scene out in Poland. Then we got Bryczek. Now the thing about Bryczek though, he's more of a boxing specialist, and you really saw that in this bout. And then we have Ihor Potieria, who's like coming off of who's coming out of the Ukraine. Let me see. And I said this off air. I'm gonna say it on air too, because like this dude's got mad Florida energy. I don't know. I think it was just a combination of the cornrows and the torso Jesus on the cross tattoo. That was like, I don't know why this is making me think Florida, but it is screaming Florida in my head. But I digress, only to say that this fight was low-key kind of cursed in the first round. And it was cursed in such a way that if you just looked at the first few minutes of this fight before the first foul, we had, I believe, an eye poke and a groin strike, all one way. Bridget committed the eye poke, and the groin strike was accidental though. It was one of those situations where Bridget was punching to the body, Potieria blocked it, and then the block caused the fist to get deflected into his groin. So it was like a almost self-inflicted, but not quite. But I was saying that you pay attention to like the first few minutes of the round before the first foul, you could have put money on Berchek maybe putting Potieria out in that first round. Like it wasn't even really competitive. Like if you just paid attention to that first vignette of the fight, right? Then after the unexpected breaks in the round from the eye poke, from the groin strike, all of a sudden we see Potieria getting his rhythm and actually putting the hurt on Berchek. And then round 2, round 3, it was a Potieria show. So it ended up being like a unanimous decision win for Potieria because he just he got so comfortable, guys, that he did a move that didn't make it's like,
He just was trying shit.
Exactly. So like how in your fighting games you usually have like a low kick, low sweep. He did that shit, but like
He
bad.
put a Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, but he did it badly. But like he also was able to get away with it scot-free. That's how comfortable he was in the cage. So where he was like, let me try this spinning scissor sweep that I saw on Street Fighter versus Capcom, or no, Capcom versus Marvel, and get back up. Like I don't know, bro. It was wild. But that's all that to say that's how comfortable he was in there. And ultimately getting the unanimous decision win. Bryce, what you got to add on that, man?
Hey, I'm gonna give you them numbers. Robert got 41 out of 143 strikes. Eeyore got 77 out of 81. Significant strikes, Robert had 32 out of 133, and Eeyore had 67 out of 168. I think Eeyore just got into his flow.
Yeah.
And once somebody gets to the flow, that's just dangerous. You feel a little bit more comfortable, more experimental, as long as you don't lose yourself like Chandler be doing. That's a good mode to be in.
You said like Chandler be doing.
Am I wrong?
No.
You sent it straight, but he's not wrong.
It's like you got the data to back it up. All right. We gotta talk about.
Let's talk about it.
The freaky
50K versus touchy feely.
50K.
Look,
that nigga was touching and feeling that floor, boy. God
boy,
damn.
he touchy, sleepy. Let me tell. Look, bro.
Let me. Can I do
he
it?
hit the snooze button on that nigga.
Like, go ahead, Bryce.
Can I do it?
Go ahead.
I like Few. Okay,
he's a good dude. I love rooting for him.
Good dude. He's a good dude. I will always watch one of his fights. He got caught.
Bad.
It was bad. It was a straight shot. Pretty sure it was a cross, if I'm not mistaken.
You are not.
Yeah. Fuck. I don't even care about the numbers. I don't want to go over the numbers. It ain't
only one strike matters.
Only one strike mattered. The one knockdown. Yeah. Ige, it's just power in that hand. It's death in that. It's death in them hills. Wow. It was so clean. And the pop when it connected was nasty.
The thing that gets me is like he added the hammer fist after.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't need
like,
to.
Dang, like
he talked about in the post fight line. I had to put a stamp on it. I'm like, did you?
Yeah, you did it. You really did it. You was wild for that, actually.
He's
my
like,
man did deserve that.
He's like, I love Andre. He's like my brother. we used to spar and everything, you know what I'm saying? But I had to let him know. I was like, but hold on.
Oh, you ain't exactly.
It's like, why you hammer fist him though?
Yeah.
It had like that why not energy, like that Jorge Masvidal. Why not? Like, bro,
I can't believe I'm saying this. Khalil Roundtree has more control than Dan Ige.
Danny Gay probably wasn't present, bro.
Oh wow.
oh wow, the Khalil Force
Listen,
or the 50K or the 50K verse.
this shit, he just trying to get paid. I ain't mad at him.
When the
Hey,
money talk, hey,
you know what's wilder though?
what?
This is a situation, Matt, that you have often joked about when quick knockouts happen, but this was literally the case. You know what he said in the post fight? I gotta hurry up. My wife is in labor right now. This nigga could have
Yo,
legit been double parked in
he
front of
might have
the
really been.
arena. Like he might have legit been double parked.
And he was like, "Hey, y'all, I called my Uber like already. I have it set for a certain time, so
He's
I got to
like,
get this nigga out of here."
like, this is legit the reason why he put out feeling. He's like,
My
yo, my
man said,
wife is
"Hey,
in
I'm shocked he
labor.
did the post
I
fight."
gotta go.
Man said, "Yo, my wife in labor. You got to get loose." Like, damn, that's crazy. You was here?
He was here.
It's time to go. You that is.
Oh,
Hey, I need somebody to go to the hospital with me, so I choose you.
Mm.
Wow.
I want some
My
company in the
God.
hospital.
Are you saying he knocked this nigga out so we can get a ride to the hospital via
I want some
ambulance?
company in the hospital.
He's like, y'all can drop me off
He
out
was
here.
in the back when they was
He's
talking, when they had the pre-fight thing. They
he's
was
poor.
talking. He said, "Hey, just by any chance if something is to happen to me or my opponent, which hospital would they go to?"
He's like, oh, word?
Hilarious.
Cool. You said Mount Sinai? Good. That bet. That's where my wife is right now. Imagine he's like riding in the back of an ambulance, pulls like on the IV like it's a bus cord. Like, hey, yo, this is my stop. Like, he fucking drops off. And the ambulance respects it. They're like, no way, he did pull the cord. Uh, I don't have anything to add. That shit was insane.
Nah, there's really nothing to say. Nothing at all to say. It's motherfucker went crazy.
Um, Speaking of crazy,
Hmm.
let's talk about this main event.
Let's
Jack
talk about it.
Hermansson versus Joe Pyfer. Look, Joe Pyfer is that dude, but Jack Hermansson is that dude.
Yeah.
Um, his I'm just gonna say this like right now. Jack Hermansson's strategy was pretty fucking insane. In that it really was all about weathering the Joe Pyfer storm until it got into the later rounds, which for what it's worth could have backfired, but you got to give props to Jack Hermansson's defense because anytime Joe Pyfer was hitting him, and bro, if you say Joe Pyfer hit this man with everything, including the kitchen sink, that's still underestimating how hard he was hitting this dude. There were
Yeah.
a few times where I was like, dude, Jack, like, hey, bro, it's okay. You can get knocked out. You've done enough. I'm not trying to see you just get
That's how it felt.
fucked up
Really
like
how it
this.
felt.
For real though, like it's like he was on skates. He was like
He
not
just refused,
conscious.
bro. I
He
saw the
was
post in the post-fight presser. He said I wasn't gonna be a stepping stone. So he meant that. He stood on that, obviously. The nigga
clearly like,
put his
but
brain on the line.
to his credit, he also maintained a very high guard with his hands and arms because like a lot of like Piper strikes to the head were not landing clean. But then, hey, if you're the type of fighter who likes to get that first round, early round, I'll say, because it could happen in the first round, second round KO, Jack Hermansson is not the opponent for you. Because sure enough, Pyfer started gassing out. The fight ended with Pyfer on his back and Hermansson teeing off until
Yep.
the bell went off. That's how, like, if you took the first round and you compared the last round, you would have been like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, yeah, that's real.
I'm gonna pass it over to you, Bryce.
Yeah, I think you pretty much painted the picture. Jack had to come through with a good plan because that power was crazy.
Oh my God.
Um, and it worked out well in his favor, just slowly but surely. The fact that he came through in that last round, just on top of him, just pummeling him down, like he was on the ground for the majority of the fifth round, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that was just a good showing. I feel like if there was any question at that point, it was that Pyfer could have won. I think all of that was silent by that fifth round. And just put it to so y'all know I like my numbers. Jack had 188 out of 327 total strikes. Pyfer had 95 out of 254 significant strikes. Jack had 121. Pyfer had 92. So yeah, it was Jack's night. It was Jack's night, and good on Jack. That was great. That was fucking great.
I don't think
that's
Piper's go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's my take. I don't. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say
feel
like I was gonna say I don't think Piper's stock goes down. I
No.
think he shows that he still has a gas tank for 5 rounds, which will be good for the future. But you got to give props to Hermansson. He's like, hey, I know I'm the veteran, but you know, I'm not coming off of no excedrins. Like, just hey, I'm out here. I'm still in this. I can win, and he did that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
All right then. Well, fellas, any final thoughts?
The card was really entertaining.
Yeah, it was. It was a good matchup of everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. There's a pay-per-view next weekend.
Is it what we think it is? Topuria versus Volkan.
It sure
Oh
is.
shit.
Yeah. Next week we
What
got
happens when
UFC.
an immovable object means an unstoppable force, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So Hudo's on this fucking card?
Oh, big head Cejudo. Oh, versus Marab. Oh yeah, they've been talking about that. Oh, Anthony
Jeff Neal
Hernandez versus
Ian
Roman
Gary.
Kopylov.
This is a good
So next week we got UFC 298.
Like, what?
We geeked out for a second.
Our bad, apparently. Like,
next week, what we got for you guys, we'll be covering UFC 298 on the MMA tip, which you guys already heard, but we could go back through it. Who all we got on the card, fellas? We got the main event, Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria, who's co-main event.
Bobby Knuckles versus Costa.
After that, we got Jeff Neal, Ian Gary, weird ass. We got Henry Cejudo, and and then we got
this thing said yup, and then what else we got last, Matt?
No, you know what? I ain't got that one either. We got another good one, and I'm gonna keep it at that. Cause I ain't gonna disrespect my man.
I would say Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov.
I just like how he said Henry Cejudo versus Yep.
Yeah. And then on the boxing tip, we just got Oshaki Foster versus Abraham Nova, 12-round bout for the WBC junior lightweight title, which is 130. So that's what we got. Thank you guys for rocking with us. This has been another episode of the Now Mind You podcast Combat Edition. Ooh, that was a lot. You can find all of us on social media, wherever you like to get your social media. You can find me at Matt Hambrick. That's MATTHAMBRIC TJ.
Y'all can find me on Instagram at Tuss4Skate. That's TUSS__SKATE. Bryce.
Instagram, Ashe, AXE_ONCA. Baby, that's where you find me. Where can they find us?
They can find us at Now, mind you, podcast wherever you like to get your podcast and wherever you like to get your social media. We are everywhere. For real, for real. I promise y'all. Be sure to check those fights out. And if you guys got any opinions on the fights we already talked about today or any other fights previously, hit us up. Let us know what's going on. And we'll get up with you guys.
Yes,
Everybody
indeed.
be safe and have a good weekend and enjoy the Super Bowl if that's what you went to. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.